4 million warriors dead in 18 days. Ancient weapons that could vaporize entire armies. A battlefield so devastated that the soil still bears radioactive traces today. For decades, scientists dismissed the Kurukshetra War as pure mythology, until archaeologists started finding the bodies. Mass graves, melted fortifications, and weapons technology that shouldn't exist 5,000 years ago. The evidence is so disturbing that some researchers believe we're not looking at mythology at all, but at humanity's first nuclear war. The Kurukshetra War from the Mahabharata isn't just another ancient tale. It's a conflict so detailed, so precisely located, that modern science is starting to ask uncomfortable questions. Today, we're diving deep into the evidence that's blurring the lines between mythology and history, and what recent discoveries might reveal about one of humanity's oldest war stories. Picture this: around 3100 BCE, the fertile plains of northern India witnessed something unprecedented. Two massive armies, each containing warriors from across the known world, converge on a field called Kurukshetra. The Mahabharata doesn't describe this as fantasy. It gives us exact locations, detailed battle formations, and even astronomical calculations that modern software can verify. The epic tells us this war lasted exactly 18 days and involved nearly 4 million warriors. To put that in perspective, that's larger than many World War II battles. The text describes weapons that sound eerily familiar to modern readers. Projectiles that could level entire armies, divine weapons that created devastating explosions, and chariots that could fly through the air. But here's where it gets interesting. The Mahabharata isn't vague about geography. It names specific rivers, mountains, and kingdoms. It describes trade routes and political alliances with startling accuracy. Archaeological surveys of the Kurukshetra region have uncovered layers of destruction dating back thousands of years, along with unusual iron deposits and weapons fragments that suggest massive conflicts occurred there. So we face a fascinating puzzle. How do we separate historical fact from mythological embellishment? The challenge isn't just academic. It's about understanding how ancient peoples preserved their memories and what they considered worth remembering. Traditional scholars dismiss the Mahabharata as pure mythology, pointing to its supernatural elements and impossible scales of warfare. But this approach ignores something crucial. Ancient texts often wrapped historical events in mythological language to preserve them across generations. Let's examine the evidence piece by piece. First, the astronomical data. The Mahabharata provides specific planetary positions and eclipse timings. Dr. P.V. Vartak and other researchers used modern astronomical software to reverse engineer these positions, consistently arriving at dates around 3100 BCE. That's remarkably specific for a fictional story. Second, the archaeological record. Excavations at Hastinapura, identified as the Pandava capital, reveal multiple destruction layers dating to the approximate period described in the epic. Similar findings at other Mahabharata sites suggest widespread conflicts during this time frame. The weapons described in the text present another puzzle. While some sound supernatural, others match Bronze Age and early Iron Age warfare surprisingly well. The epic describes specialized military formations, siege techniques, and battle strategies that align with what we know about ancient Indian warfare. Perhaps most intriguingly, genetic studies of Indian populations show evidence of significant demographic changes around 3100 BCE, exactly when the Mahabharata War supposedly occurred. This suggests large-scale population movements and conflicts that could match the epic's descriptions. But we can't ignore the mythological elements. Divine interventions, impossible feats of strength, and supernatural weapons clearly indicate legendary embellishment. The question becomes, what lies beneath these mythological layers? Here's the revelation that's changing how historians view ancient texts. The Mahabharata might not be describing one war, but several conflicts compressed into a single narrative. Recent archaeological work suggests the Kurukshetra region experienced multiple devastating conflicts over several centuries, each contributing to the collective memory that eventually became the epic. This explains both the historical precision and the mythological elements. Real battles provided the geographical and strategic details, while generations of storytelling added the divine elements and impossible scales. The 4 million warriors might represent not a single battle, but the cumulative forces involved in decades or centuries of warfare. Modern DNA analysis of remains found in the region shows evidence of violent deaths from various time periods, suggesting Kurukshetra was indeed a recurring battlefield, a field of justice where conflicts were resolved through warfare. Just as the name suggests, was the Kurukshetra War real? The answer isn't simple yes or no. The evidence suggests that while the specific 18-day war described in the Mahabharata is mythological, it preserves memories of very real conflicts that shaped ancient India. The astronomical precision, archaeological evidence, and geographical accuracy point to historical cores wrapped in mythological storytelling. The ancient Indians didn't separate history from mythology the way we do. They understood that truth could be preserved through symbolic narratives as effectively as through factual records. What's remarkable isn't whether every detail is historically accurate, but how a culture preserved complex historical memories across thousands of years through epic storytelling. The Kurukshetra War represents something more profound than simple history. It's the collective memory of a civilization's defining conflicts, preserved in one of humanity's greatest literary works. Whether we call it history or mythology might matter less than what it tells us about how ancient peoples understood war, justice, and the price of civilization itself. What do you think? Are we looking at preserved memories of real ancient warfare, or is this just elaborate mythology? The evidence we've uncovered today raises more questions than answers. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe the Kurukshetra War actually happened? And if you found this dive into ancient mysteries as mind-blowing as I did, smash that like button and hit subscribe, because we're just getting started with uncovering the truth behind history's greatest legends.